Well, you can see I'm sitting here at my simulator and I'm practicing an ILS approach into Waukegan. The reason I'm doing that is because a few days ago I was out practicing such an approach for real, and I messed it up pretty badly. This one is going to be a sad one because what I did in the air is just what we think someone else did. And he didn't make it. Hi, this is the Countess back to curmudgeon. Join us as we explore the thrilling world of general aviation.
Sierra 5 Tango Sierra, proceed on course, runway 25 right, clear for takeoff.
25 right, clear for takeoff on course, 5 Tango Sierra.
This is John Booth. He's been my instructor since 2017. And he and I are performing an Instrument Proficiency Check. This is something I like to do every year.
See that coyote?
Oh yeah, he's off on the edge there.
Oh, you see him? All right,
Well, I guess that's a sign. He's done around.
all right, here we go. Okay. We're already at 50. That's good. Ooh, a little squirrely. There's rotate. Up we come. Yep. There we go. Flaps up. Yeah, it might be a bumpy ride today.
Yeah.
November, ready for takeoff, straight on departure.
All right, caps is available.
Flight 40 Zulu November, proceed on course.
Not sure I'd use it.
Left clear for
Probably
takeoff.
head to those fields.
40 November.
Yeah, at least initially.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is right over some houses.
Yep.
Over there, it's nice and open.
As I said, John and I are flying so that we can do an Instrument Proficiency Check. Now, as you may recall, John and I flew 6 months ago to do instrument approaches. What you're about to see is just how much proficiency you can lose in 6 months, and just how critical that loss can be.
Okay, 020, do you want another touch and go, or do you want to leave now?
Now, let's go on and talk about the Barron crash. Max Cohen was a dentist, 74 years old, his wife Sharon, their dog Callie, well-respected individuals in the community.
Max is flying home with his wife and his dog. It's a trip he's made many times before, but this is low IFR, maybe 100 feet. Somehow the autopilot isn't configured properly, the airplane descends below the commanded altitude, the air traffic controller warns him, so he disconnects the autopilot to climb back up to the commanded altitude.
Now there goes a lot right there when you disconnect autopilot in the weather. Now he's given left to 240 and clear for the approach, but he goes through the approach and things go downhill real quick. Max is hand flying. He goes back up to the G1000 and he starts punching buttons like crazy.
That's speculation. We don't know that for a fact. What we do know is that the pilot apparently entered into a downward graveyard spiral and smashed into the ground.
Sierra 345 Tango Sierra, turn right, heading 200, that's up the localizer.
200 for the localizer.
So here I am on the ILS 23 approach into Waukegan, and I'm about to do
Okay, at this point,
just
I should
what
hit
we
nav,
think
and
led
it's
to
already in
Max
approach mode.
Cohen's demise.
It should take this by itself. It did not quite follow the instructions I wanted.
Will it though?
Well, it's an interesting question. No. I'm going to help it.
Okay.
It's doing something bizarre here. It wants to turn me outbound. So, negative, negative, negative. Alright, so I'm going to
Standard
do this
return.
this way. Yeah, standard return, you're right.
Sierra 345 Tango Sierra is inbound on ILS.
Sirius 5 Tango Sierra, roger, report walking.
Port Walkie, Sierra 345 Tango Sierra.
And 5 Tango Sierra, what was the type of landing you're looking for?
Well, we can just do a low approach mist and then do the published miss and hold it Walkie.
Autopilot's off. I'm going to have to muscle this one. Because that's
Now
not
there
right.
goes a lot right there when you disconnect autopilot in the weather. Hand flying. He goes back up to the G1000 and he starts punching buttons like crazy.
6 miles.
Roger that on the
But he goes through the approach.
Runway 23, 7 Delta Charlie.
Yeah.
Go 237 Delta Charlie.
Everything here is completely messed up.
Okay, so if it's completely messed up, then we're 3/4 scale off. What's your time to go?
It's time to bail out.
Time to go mist. Okay, so let's go mist. So fly heading Sierra 345 Sierra, fly heading 360, climb maintain 2,600.
360, 2600.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
Yep, yep.
Cessna
Oh,
52,
sorry.
32 Kilo Waukegan Tower, hold short.
360.
Runway 230, 5232 Kilo.
And Sierra 345 Tango Sierra, we're going to go back and vector back in again.
Sirius 45 Tango Sierra, roger, report inbound.
We're reporting inbound, Sierra 345 Tango Sierra.
Everything here is completely messed up. That's what I said out loud. I wonder if that thought was going through Dr. Cohen's mind as he struggled to make his airplane do what he wanted it to do. And his airplane was in a graveyard spiral without him knowing it. In any case, what did I do wrong? Well, I did a number of things wrong. The first thing I did wrong was I forgot to set the ILS course in the autopilot. Right there, I forgot to set the ILS course in the autopilot. Now, why didn't I set the ILS course in the autopilot? That's because that when I'm flying my simulator, the simulator does it automatically. So I got used to that, and I forgot that in the airplane, it doesn't happen automatically, and I have to manually set the course. That's the trigger mistake. That's the first mistake, the mistake that precipitated everything else. The much bigger mistake I made was to attempt to recover the situation. Once I realized that the airplane was not doing what I wanted it to do, I tried to force the airplane to do what I wanted it to do. I grabbed the controls. I overrode the autopilot without turning the autopilot off. I was literally trying to push the autopilot into doing what I wanted it to do, which of course the autopilot's not going to pay any attention to me. So I was overriding the servos. And then, to make matters worse, I finally decided to just disconnect the autopilot and muscle it in. So, new rule for me, right? If I am on an approach and the airplane does not do what I think it ought to do, I'm going missed right away, instantly. I'll call ATC, I'll tell them, guys, I need to be revectored. Tell me what to do. I am not going to grab the controls and try and muscle it in. That doesn't seem to be a productive solution. One other thing I've done. I have created a new checklist in ForeFlight for ILS approaches that I can review when I have time in flight. I know I'm going to do an ILS approach. I can bring this checklist up. This checklist will remind me of all the things I need to do so that I don't forget and get caught in that situation again. This checklist will help me remember all the things I need to do. Anyway, I thought that was something you might want to see.